Thank you very much, our distinguished guests. Alex, I start with you. I know you have a very strong opinion about ensuring freedom and prosperity through free market. And I want you to tell us especially that you wrote a preface to the paper, which was very great. I really enjoyed reading it. I really encourage people also to read it. Go ahead.
First of all, thank you so much, Ahmad. I just would like to congratulate Nufti, especially Dr. Ganji and Kamran, as well as Dr. Qasemi-Nejad and Amir Sharif Emami for putting this event together. It's very useful, and of course, you know, I think people here share the view that this is the beginning of the reconstruction of a free Iran. Free markets and free societies come together are the same, are two sides of the same coin, the exact same way that the coercive, the oppressive nature of the Islamic Republic has on the flip side its command economy. Free markets, privatizing the economy is also the surest way to break the power structure, the economic power structure of the Islamic Republic, and break what I think can be easily qualified as a system of crony socialism. The last point I would like to make is that a democracy, a free society, prospers on prosperity, and the surest way to achieve that is competitive free markets.
Thank you very much. Mishaal, I wanted to get a little bit of your thoughts about regional cooperation, what interest is in the region to cooperate economically in Iran, if they want to invest in Iran or any other form of cooperation.
Thank you for having me. I'm from the Emirates, so it's just across the Gulf. I think, you know, the global order that we've had is going to change. And I think that right now, my hometown, Dubai, with Abu Dhabi, is emerging as sort of a center for what I think is going to become the new non-aligned movement. Anybody that wants to sit out this US-China war is going to be tethered in a way to that region, to that country. I think there's a lot of interest from the Gulf in Iran. Iran is one of these countries that should be a Korea. It's just chosen to be a North Korea instead of a South Korea. But there is absolutely no reason why it shouldn't be a $2, $3, $4 trillion economy, right? And the path is very straightforward. You look at a country like Turkey, which is next door, same population, double the GDP. I think it should be the opposite. I think Iran should be double the GDP of Turkey. I see the Gulf in its expanded definition looking as significant as Southeast Asia. And I think that block could be animated. There's a lot of complementary skill sets between both sides at this point. And that would be a future I'd like to live in.
Perfect. Jokingly say that. Oh.
You guys got to decide what your priorities are.
And with that, Pooya, I wanted to ask you, from the standpoint of, from the viewpoint of the foreign investor, what risk do they see and what they are interested in investing in Iran? Their interest and the risk that they calculate for.
Good morning, everyone. So that's a great question. It's also, if you're talking about the government-owned entities and companies, is a different way to look at it. And if you're looking at Iran as a host country for the foreign direct investors, that's another way to just look at it. So, because our discussion is mainly about privatization of this government-owned or semi-government-owned companies, it's very important to before even attracting any investors, even like local or the foreign, it's very important that all these companies have to go through very thorough auditing process and risk assessment, because there is like major risk involved in this type of companies because they're like corrupt. They did not compete in a very free market, so they use inside information to gain projects, to have access to capital and other type of incentive. And so it's important to know what is the valuation of these companies. It's not just their assets they own, but also what is the value of this operation. And that's the base before privatizing these companies and then going through that. So Iran, also for in general, the foreign direct investors looking at expanding in new markets, there is like macroeconomic perspective and geopolitical risk that they look at it first and assess those risks, and they look into different industries. Like, okay, if I'm investing in oil and gas and energy, this is a great market because and they're like resource seekers, basically. They're resource seeker type of investors that they come first to this type of markets and they're willing to take higher risk because they need access to those resources. And then once the country is like developed further, we can attract different type of investors and different type of foreign capital into a country.
Thank you very much. Mishaal, I remember you had a very interesting talk about the risk that privatization should mitigate, and there are short-term problems that can arise during privatization. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, I come from a country that has had a lot of success with state capitalism. It takes less than 10 minutes to renew your driver's license, and that is completely run by the government. There's a lot of very successful sovereign wealth funds from my country. And I feel like this idea of privatization is correct, but it's a North Star. And I really think the worst thing that could happen for Iran in this scenario is a repetition of the Russian scenario that you spoke about. And I think focusing on building institutions that are post-Islamic Republic is the most important thing. And being kind of not ideological about whether it's state capitalism or sort of market capitalism, and maybe having a long-term horizon. A lot of government state-owned entities in Dubai, for example, are being IPO'd right now after being run by the government for 20 or 30 years. So I think we should be more ideological about the what and not the how, because the worst thing that could happen is that you could have this scenario like Russia, where you do it badly, everything gets sold in a fire sale, oligarchs buy it, people get pissed off, and then they say, we need a strong man, and then you get a Putin, right? You can see a scenario where something like this could happen in Iran, and that would be terrible, and would be, I think, an underwhelming outcome for what you all want for your country. So I think just being more measured and not super committed to sort of this kind of free market endgame is important. So again, if you take nothing from my comments today, please be ideological about the what, not the how.
Fantastic. Many of us are free market hawks, so it's a good comment here. And Alex, I get back to you. I remember we had a conversation. You had a comment about short-term foreign direct investment through concessions that the government can have and how it can bring know-how and also investment from foreign companies. Can you elaborate on that?
I'm going to offer a controversial view as well, which is that I'm not quite sure that that FDI, or rather the inflow of capital coming from abroad, is a matter of urgency for a new state, a new free state of Iran. First of all, there's potentially hundreds of billions of frozen assets abroad. There's massive oil and gas rent revenues. So it's not actually money that is required. what would be, I believe, interesting in attracting foreign companies, foreign investors potentially, is know-how, is skill set. So what we've seen in emerging markets is telecom licenses, for instance, that were auctioned off. I think that was the case also in the 2000s in Iran, or at least the Islamic Republic was looking into it, and that failed. What we're and here the interesting bit, I believe, is that you have a combination of a skill set, a technology that is brought to a market, as well as revenue for that country's treasury. And you can replicate that model for ports, potentially for highways. And there, I think, as well as for a telecom license, the interesting bit for that form of a private-public partnership is to have a duration on it, whether it be 10 or 15 years, which allows for technology transfer without giving up value in perpetuity.
Do we still have time? It seems we do. So, Pooya, I have another question from you. From the viewpoint of the foreign investors, what legal framework in Iran should be reformed first that they show interest? From, let's say, not even foreign, from any investor point of view. Is it credit market reform, or is it tax reform, or private ownership reform? Which one is that?
Yeah, I'm not really an expert on the legal side of it, but yes, like one of the things that the investors look into it is like the very transparent regulatory environment of the host country, to see like what is the ownership, what is the rights in this country, what type of ownership they can have, and then what's the tax system, and then corruption and all of that. So we need a really good regulatory environment, and also access to capital is important for the investor inside, for the entrepreneur inside Iran, also even the foreign investors. But yeah, I can't go into the very specific about that, but yeah, that's one of the main areas that they look into and assess.
And one final question. This is anybody who has very interest or excitement about it. When you imagine you're an investor, you want to go invest in Iran, or you want to start a new business in Iran, what really excites you? What part of the economy you find very interesting to invest or grow there?
I mean, this is 80 million people who are the last 80 million people who have not joined the consumption cycle. So if you think about any company in the world, that's a lot of people who have not done what everybody else has done. And then you take on the other side, on the productive side, you think about the average quality of the Iranian immigrant that leaves Iran, right? So even under the sanctions and the mismanagement of the country, Sharif University produces excellent people that go on to Europe and America and do very well in tech, in aerospace, in business. And I think what you could do in that country in terms of consumption and what you could build there because of the quality of the human capital is absolutely incredible. I think that would be exciting for a lot of people.
Alex?
I would invest in Dour. Joking aside, I think that there'll be massive opportunity in the retail space, which is a story that has worked very well in emerging markets. It's probably because I'm not a very qualified investor, and those businesses are easier to understand.
Awesome. Thank you very much.